Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another installment of Right Light Reacts channel. It's your boy Marcus. Sorry it's been a while since I connected with you guys. I just, honestly, just to be transparent with you guys, I've had a lot going on in my personal life. And also dealing with that, having to face the ramifications, because I'm very much empathic, and dealing with the things that are happening in our world collectively. It's just energy's been in a flux with me personally. I'm trying to really compartmentalize everything, dealing with it from a ultralistic standpoint, but also coming to grips with the idea that we are going through a transformation spiritually in our world, and the current events that we're seeing are just like ramifications of that. Doesn't make it any better, because I know that there are economical factors and consequences to this war. People are losing their lives. People are losing their livelihood. The price of gas is going up. The price of food is going up. It's just affecting everything. And I would be remiss if I didn't send my love to the people that are in the Middle East that are suffering these atrocities. My own people, my own countrymen here that are just dealing with their own things, as far as not knowing if you're going to have a job next week, trying to figure out how you're going to pay your rent, how you're going to get food. People that have children, I don't have children yet, but I can just imagine the toll that it's taken on you guys trying to support a family in these unidealistic times. There's so much uncertainty in the world, and hopefully a lot of the content that I'm going to present in this video will give you some clarity, and also offer a little bit of comfort as I give my own spill on things and my own point of view. So with that being said, I just want to tell you guys I love you. Please hang in there. It's always darkest before the dawn, and just keep your head up. You know, we collectively are in this world together. We're facing it all together, and at the end of the day, we're gonna come out on the other side. I know it doesn't appear that way right now, but again, you know, it'll rain for a little while before the sun finally rises again. So with all that being said, get yourself something to eat, chill, relax, let's get weird.
All right, hey y'all. So this is Anne Heche, right? She is the ex-wife of Ellen DeGeneres, right? And everything I'm about to say is allegedly, even though we have video evidence, okay? Now, I was scrolling on TikTok and I seen this young man, and he was talking about Ellen DeGeneres and her setup and the blue and the pics, everything that's on her stage, and how it is very much connected to everything that is going on within the industry, right? But this is why I say, y'all, I don't think that y'all truly understand that the people in the industry field is doing things on a spiritual level. They are energy harvesting. They are moving off of free will, consciousness, and awareness. And I don't think that y'all truly want to accept that. At some point, y'all are going to have to accept the fact that the people in the industry kill people. They will kill them in plain sight, because y'all will ignore what is there because, oh, well, it could be a movie scene. They are killing people on video. So the day that she died, she was driving down a road and her car would not stop. Now, they said that she was going 100 miles an hour. No, her car would not stop because they messed with her car. Okay. Now, there's video of her getting into a fire. She crashed into a house and the car got on fire. And they went in to get her body. But when they came out, she lifted herself up out of the body bag. You can see her lift herself out the body bag. She was alive, movable. Wasn't nothing wrong with her, but then when she gets to the hospital, she's dead. I find it weird. Here we go.
That anxious or that quick moving that was going on the other side of the vehicle. Oh my gosh, he's completely alive.
And this is why I just be feeling like y'all just choose to ignore what is actually there. These people be taking people's lives. These people will tell you in plain sight that they eat children with pineapple, The Rock Johnson, and then y'all want to act like, oh no, he's just jokingly talking about eating children. No, they're really eating children. This girl was killed because she was going to come out with a book against that person with that show, the blonde gay lady, and people swear up and down that she was not killed. They killed her, just like they killed Michael Jackson, just like they killed Whitney Houston. They all getting killed. They all. And then if they can't kill you, they gonna put you in prison.
I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy, but
I want to speak on that real quick. There's a cabal, there's a club that, whether you want to believe it or not or accept it or not, they operate by a different set of rules, and those rules often contain the mechanizations of witchcraft. Part of witchcraft, if you're not familiar with certain elements of witchcraft, if you want to get something substantial done in your life, so whether that's fame, whether that's finances, an increase of finances, hell, you got love rituals. It's an exchange of energy. There's a anime cartoon called Full Metal Alchemist, and the premise of the show was basically, if you lose something or if you want to gain something, you have to give something in exchange. Now that could be a part of yourself, whether it's your soul. There can be somebody that's close to you, a family member, somebody that basically holds a piece of your essence, and you have to exchange this thing, an object of your affection, in order to gain a semblance of whatever it is that you're looking for. These people that we've been watching all our lives, whether it's actors, musicians, basketball players, football players, anybody that has any type of platform on TV. I don't want to say everybody. I don't want to go that far. But I will say this. Have you guys noticed a pattern that anybody that has any type of esteem or prestige, they often lose somebody in a weird way? And I don't want to even give any examples, but if you go through your Rolodex and your memory bank, you'll be able to put two and two together and realize that some of this stuff is not coincidental. And what Sis was just alluding to with this actress, I do believe she was sacrificed. And I think that a lot of people don't want to delve into that realm because it can be a lot to digest, and it can also be a lot to kind of compartmentalize as far as removing yourself from the reality of that which you knew before. But we're in a time now with all this information coming out about these Epstein files, these celebrities, that names that are in the files, things that are being spoken about, the photos that are in the files, the connection to certain secret societies. I mean, you can no longer hide this shit. You really can't. So people that want to continue to stick their head in the sand, by all means, you can do that. And you can continue to live in this delusion that you're continuing to perpetuate in. But in all actuality, the world does not work the way that we thought whatsoever. And it's time to wake the fuck up. Period.
it's then I watched everybody like talking
There's
1,000 miles an hour up there receiving their awards, and I was like, I'm dead. And I made mistakes.
Y'all think that's Jim Carrey, right? I'm 38 years old. I've been watching Jim Carrey since I was a kid. I know his mannerisms like the back of my hand, and that's not Jim Carrey. You can always look at people's eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul. And if you pay attention to a person's eyes long enough, their mannerisms, how they go about speaking, certain tics that people have, you can tell that man is not Jim Carrey. And if you know within the past 10 years, Jim Carrey went on a bit of a tear in the media talking about how everything's an illusion, exposing Hollywood for the cult that it is. the distractions that they present in order to keep us docile and sleep. So that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that tries to convince you that that person, whoever that is Jim Carrey, the Jim Carrey we all know and love and grew up with, it ain't happening. Wake up.
And I was like,
Absolutely. In fact, a good portion of it is all human meat. All human. It's all human. The amount of people killed, sacrificed, ground up, and fed back to you is more than the cattle that's on the earth. Let's put it that way. Okay? We would steer clear of any type of ground meat unless you literally are getting it from a farm where they process their food right there and then. In which case, really it's usually a farm. They've got a little store there. They've got, their own package system, their own meat system. Short of that, we wouldn't recommend any type of ground meat to be consumed if you're concerned with whether you're participating in cannibalism or not. And the biggest issue, besides the obvious for most people moral issue of eating another human being, is the energy behind it. And also, your bodies are not designed to consume each other, so they cause it causes health problems as well, and things of that nature. And we know that you all have participated in it so far in your lives. Everybody's been eating this stuff. Everybody's been eating the fast food hamburgers. Everybody's been eating the ground up stuff and things like that. But we're just telling you that it's mostly human meat. It's mostly human meat. And a lot of it is other animals as well that you don't realize that they get rid of when they euthanize animals. And that's the hard truth. Most of the celebrities, the high-ranking celebrities, politicians, and things of that nature, they're on a purely cannibalistic diet. All of the meat that they eat are humans, and so they've got human meat processing plants, and they're not very hidden. They're pretty much, broadcast and out in the open. It's just that nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that while they're lined up in the line to get their fast food burgers through the drive-through. Okay. But that is a truth, and you all get to make a decision. You all are always able to make decisions as to what changes are you going to make. What changes are you going to make? Because on the moral aspect, okay, but there's the energy aspect. If we are all one, and you're literally eating yourselves, okay? On the energy aspect, there is no humane way to kill someone or something. There's no such thing. That's the stupidest thing anybody's ever exclaimed, ever, okay? Ever, okay? And so all of the fear and the stress that shoots through a body while it's being killed, because most of it isn't even painless in any way, shape, or form. There's trauma, massive trauma involved in it, that gets physically embodied, actualized and embodied, and then you're eating that fear. It's an extremely low conscious aspect, and that gets fully integrated into your body on a visceral level and your brain. And it literally prevents brain activity, and it instills Alzheimer's and dementia.
There has definitely been an uptick in people losing their mind. And to not consider people's diet being a part of that would be disingenuous. There was an article that came out not too long ago. 2% of the meat that is in McDonald's burgers, I believe, is human. That's a fact. You can just go online, look it up when you have time. That's just McDonald's. And as the lady said, to think that there's a humane way of killing something, particularly animal, right? That fear, that apprehension, that a boost of adrenaline that is being ciphered and processed through the blood, it does like energetically intermediate and connect in yourselves. And I think that, I mean, and it's coming from somebody, I do still eat meat, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but I am slowly weaning myself off of certain products. I don't eat fast food at all. Like, I won't even touch that shit at this point. But at the same time, everything's energy, and you have to be mindful of what you're putting in your body, because if you don't know the source, if you're not doing your research, it's very likely that a lot of the things that you are consuming, that we all are consuming as a collective, is harming ourselves in more than one way. Why do we think that cancer is just astronomically increasing? Like I mentioned, mental illness, and then people's thyroid fields, they're decreasing. Like the vibratory rate is definitely lowering because of the ramifications of our diet. So it's something to be mindful of. But yeah, like all these people going missing, thousands of people going missing every year. I mean, what do you guys think they're doing with the meat? Just saying.
Ancient civilizations, they had locations specifically for child sacrifice to these people portraying to be gods. So so this means that those same people that was back then claiming to be gods, why is Clinton, Hillary asking for the burial site of Gilgamesh? This is supposed to be false. It's supposed to be fake. This is supposed to be fake. So what is Gilgamesh? A fallen angel makes you what? A demon.
Or a devil.
Or a devil. I'm starting to think that some of these people, when you see the CIA declassifying that they did bloodline traces, and they monitor certain bloodlines for hybridization. For hybridization of what? Some of them are still alive from the old world.
And you can't, one thing about the reptilians, because they change their names every so many years.
They reinvent themselves.
So you never hear about these rich motherfuckers who run everything, which is the reptilians. You never hear about them going on PBS and say, I want to trace back my lineage. You never hear that shit. Only poor motherfuckers that just don't, whatever their reasons is. But
this morning I posted a video talking about the incident at Buckingham Palace where the girl had these thermal goggles on, and she showed the guards and how they had no heat signature. Look at this man. Now that video, for the most part, has been scrubbed off the internet, but I found it.
Proof that we are sharing this planet with a non-human race. This isn't clickbait. I'm going to show you how you can see them as well. As I'm walking down, I'm filming. Everything's showing normal. I filmed the guards outside of the palace.
No heat sensors.
Exactly the same
whatsoever.
thing. No heat whatsoever. You can see right behind them,
walk among us,
there is heat coming from the buildings. It's showing orange. But even when they're
I know
walking,
this shit real.
how do you explain that?
I seen it. If you hunt pedophiles, you gonna find a lizard man. If you want to see reptilian technology, we can show it to you. The Sphere Network is a global defense system that's been installed here since before the pyramids. And on the last episode, we saw a video of a shining light, and the guy said only 100 yards up. This is what they look like in the daytime. When you're using antimatter reactors as your propulsion system, at nighttime it's going to reflect because you're changing the atmosphere around the object. So that's what this is right here. Is it?
That's the 3 dots you were talking about?
The same 3-dot formation is on petroglyphs from 4,000 years ago.
Bang, bingo.
This is reptilian technology. Scary thing to me about this whole thing is like when you study ancient civilizations, they all made child sacrifices to these deities in exchange for wealth and power. And it's kind of like when you see declassified files come out about the government tracking ancient bloodlines and hybrid people, it's kind of like, how old are these people really?
Well, it's funny you say that because a lot of celebrities that we look at look exactly like people we find in 1700.
Yeah, I mean, Epstein looked like Andrew Jackson. Looked exactly like him.
Identical.
You see the CIA officer who came out and said he was in a time travel program?
Yes. Yeah.
Break that down.
I just saw that. I didn't
there are certain videos online that you can find where you see people in there like in the 1400s walking like they on a cell phone.
I seen that.
And then the guy Epstein in the file said we need to test the biological effects of time travel on the human body.
Right. And mutants in the same email.
It's in the file.
And all of these demons are trannies, basically. Well, Transformers falls whatever. Because bro, it's just getting out of hand, bro. I'm ready to up Drake. It's kind of like what else can you do?
Yeah,
bro?
this is some like, yo, how are we a society after knowing all of this shit? How is everybody just going to work and just thinking that this shit is cool?
Bro, I swear I had the same thought the other day. I'm like, how the fuck are we just going about our lives in normal fashion with all this information coming out? Like, there's no going back to normal after this. Like, if you are still on this, I'm trying to get my master. I'm not saying you can't have goals. Like, as long as you're alive, please, like, obtain to the highest knowledge and aspirations you can. But in the back of your mind, you should know that there's motherfuckers in this country eating babies and sacrificing them. Like, you should know that, and that should bother you. If you have any semblance of a soul, that should bother you. And it's like the average person walking around is just in this slumber of comfort, of what they perceive as comfort, not knowing that at any moment all this shit could fall apart at a moment's notice. Like, that does bother me. And I was having this conversation with this young lady I'm dating, and also my brother. Like, it's almost like people are in this stupor, and I don't know if it's because of social media. I don't know if it's because, as we talked about earlier, the food. I just think we're oversaturated with vices to where we can't critically process what's really transpiring in our world. And if that's not enough to like have you fuming, to have you at least digging deeper and asking more questions, then you need to do some soul searching. I'm sorry, because this shit ain't okay to any degree. Wake up.
Requires 8% of the population on the planet to assemble the 5th DNA strand and be able to hold 5th dimensional frequencies in their body in order for Earth to be able to merge properly with Terra during this time cycle. We're not quite up to that yet, but we're close. So one of the things they're asking us to do is learn about our DNA, learn how to use the higher chakras to bring high frequency energy into the DNA, which helps it assemble. Because the higher you can get your DNA in your body and your consciousness vibrating, you're plugged right into the earth grid. It will make the earth grid vibrate faster. There's strength in numbers. The more of us that can do this, the faster the earth grid will vibrate. So it's one of the things they're asking us to do. If the majority of humans totally ignore this grand opportunity we're being presented with, there are two worst case scenarios. One is we do start to enter the morphogenetic wave period, and the grids are so far out of balance that it starts to make seals on the Earth's vortexes loosen, which will cause volcanic activity, and it will cause plate shifting. And it could be on a massive level. If it's really out of balance, it could create up to a 45-degree shift of the angle of the Earth spinning on its axis, which we're history if that happens. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. It's not that bad yet. But they want us to be aware of how bad it could be. They want us to be aware that they're not joking. They're not saying, oh, gee, come be spiritual because it's fun. They're saying, hello, you're in trouble if you don't pay attention. And how many of us is it going to take to get you to pay attention? You know, so one of the neat things that happens if things go right is that during the 5-year period when the wave is cresting, the 5th strand of DNA will manifest spontaneously within the bioenergetic field of every person on the planet. And right now, we have people with all sorts of different gene codes on the planet. Some have 4th DNA strand assembled, but some only have 2. Now, when you look and you say, hey, I have 2 DNA strands, you know, we see that under a microscope. The other 2 are in your double. Most of us have 4 strands here. And the strands are not that easily divided up. We're okay, once I have my 12-strand package, I'm going to see 12 little strands or 6 double helixes. They're all encoded through each other. But basically, the human being was designed to have 12 strands of DNA. And when we do have that fully activated, we are immortal. And we live in harmonic universe too.
I remember seeing this.
Y'all remember this?
And people just bypass this shit. But who was that in the background? Is that actually Megan? Robot, reptilian, like what the fuck is going on here?
Anyway,
and they put it on our face.
My grandfather Joe Biden does have a twin, and that twin is currently pretending to be Joe Biden in the White House. So, unfortunately, my grandfather Joe Biden passed away about 4 years ago. But, you know, he had built up this really long political career, and my family still wanted to have a bit of power in the U.S. government, so we just replaced Joe with his twin brother.
So was Joe Biden switched out with his twin brother, or was a robot used to fool the public? You decide. How the hell can we describe what is happening here?
It's not weird at all. Nothing about his presidency was weird at all, right?
Here you have what looks like a man holding a remote control.
Falling up the stairs.
Definitely a remote control.
And there's Joe. No, man, he looks a little dumbfounded. Like
catatonic doing praise and worship. Like, come on, man.
It is not an alien invasion. It is Judgment Part 2. So in Part 1, we discussed how I personally believe that the true deception is that they've shaped our perception, which is true occultic magic. Instead of having to do anything, they just have to mold our perception slightly so that when we look at something like this, which is a divine judgment, the cups being poured out, the glory cloud with the wheels spitting out the lights, we look at this and think either aliens or Project Bluebeam. Almost nobody is going to look at something like this and think that it is God or any type of divine judgment. And as I peeled back the layers on medieval Bible manuscripts, facsimiles, things of that nature, this becomes more and more obvious to me. So this is a Judgment Day illustration from a 1300s Bible, and I've been showing you guys the ark that is clearly in the sky. It's literally this, and it sends out these. And as I searched out medieval illustrations of Noah's Ark, they get more and more interesting. The further you go back, the more they begin to look kind of like flying saucers. This is from 1330. A lot of altar tabernacles look like this, and this coincidentally looks exactly like what they've programmed us to believe UFOs or like flying saucers would look like. Here's a biblical image of God's throne. Again, flying saucer-esque. Again, I think this is God's ark. This is a 1400s image of the glory of the Lord. The craziest part is I have seen these exact things. I believe that these are like some form of like maybe throne angels. They spit out the northern lights. I have seen these with my own eyes. How about this 1700s illustration? This is the baptism of Christ, guys. Look at what's going on here and tell me that this doesn't look... I know this image is probably freaking a lot of people out, but I just ask that you consider that we may be conditioned to perceive things the wrong way. Because Jesus asks the Pharisees, was John's baptism from man or from heaven? So this picture is Jesus's baptism. Jesus later references baptism being from heaven, right? And you're clothed with light, you get the living water from heaven. And very consistently, antique Bibles/sources all have engravings of New Jerusalem that look like this. Baptism from heaven, New Jerusalem/heaven. And I know this is probably giving a lot of people the heebie-jeebies. I get it. I want to show you a couple scriptures before we continue. The Jerusalem above is free, and she is our mother. What do they teach us those things are called? Mother ships. Why? To induce fear. I believe that's why Revelation says that Satan will deceive the whole world into encompassing the camp of the saints. The one who conquers, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, never shall he go out of it, and I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, which comes down from my God out of heaven, and my own new name. He who has an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. So the idea I'm presenting seems very foreign to most people because of the programming, but it's very much in Scripture. Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great high mountain and showed me the holy city Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, having the glory of God, its radiance like a most rare jewel, like jasper, clear as crystal. Blessed are those who wash their robes. So this is the ESV. I don't like the translation for this verse because a more accurate translation would be, Barak are those who keep his commandments. And what does Barak mean? It goes back to God's lightning, which has the exact same root word as the emerald in Aaron's breastplate. So green lightning are those who keep the commandments. And then I showed you guys my antique book where it casually says that Elijah and Enoch were beamed up in a beam of God's fire. And every single day I see what I believe to be the ark, spitting out beams of fire, just like Revelation 11:19 says. God's temple in heaven was opened, his ark was seen, and it was letting out flashes of lightning and rumbles and things of that nature. So use discernment, right? But this is all just getting too weird to me. It adds up a little bit too much, and the scriptures very much support it. On that day, messengers shall go out from me in ships to terrify the unsuspecting people of Cush, and anguish shall come upon them on the day of Egypt's doom. So ships, most of our minds would go towards like marine ships. The Hebrew word here is not like a sailing ship. It's like more a vessel. Here's another medieval engraving of a sky battle. So they depicted ships in the sky. At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, but the king of the north shall rush upon him like a whirlwind, with chariots and horsemen, and with many ships. So keep in mind, in 2 Kings, when Elijah is taken up, it's by a chariot and a horse of fire. Those are what the horses of Israel are. They're fire horses. And yes, I have a picture of everything. I know you guys are tired of it, but I have to show you. I believe that this is one of the fire horses. So you could kind of see the head here and then like the body. But there the Lord in majesty will be for us a place of broad rivers and streams where no galley with oars can go, nor majestic ship can pass. And yes, I'm constantly talking about the auroras, but I truly believe that they are such a central part to the Bible that nobody seems to realize. So it says, an oracle concerning Damascus, the cities of Auror are deserted. They will be for flocks which will lie down and none will make them afraid. This reminds me so much of Psalm 23 where David says, He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He makes me lie down in green pastures. In medieval times, they often depicted these crazy looking comets and they always had swords in them. And coincidentally, a lot of medieval engravings and like illustrations of angels, like biblical seraphim, look exactly like what they've trained us to believe sky aliens would look like. Come to think of it, pretty much every single type of angel that's biblically accurate will be interpreted as an alien from outer space or some kind of alien by 90% of the public. I mean, I've seen so many movies where the aliens look like this, and this is divine judgment. And something tells me that Ezekiel's wheels are going to scare a lot of people.
I am Jeff Epstein's niece. My father and stepmother had a baby girl in 1991 who was raised by another family. In 1998, they assigned me her birth date on my birth certificate, which they waited 10 years to file, claiming my stepmother was my biological mother. And finally put me in school in the gifted program. You know, my parents were upstanding citizens. My father was a divorce attorney. It goes back for generations. I remember my father confessing that my oldest brother is 8 years younger than him. They told me that we belonged to the cult of Baal. My great-grandfather, according to my father, was Walt Disney. Before he moved to the United States, his name was Artur Bick, and his twin sister, who he had children with, who I am descended from, was named Minnie. That's where we get Mickey and Minnie Mouse. It's very cute, right? Except for when you consider the abuse that I suspect is still happening to children who go into the entertainment industry.
But it makes sense if you want to have a front for the abduction of children, wouldn't you pose it as an amusement park, or something to the effect of a getaway for kids to enjoy themselves and have fun? Parents let their guard down, kids are running all over the place, and that's how they come up missing. But yeah, like she was saying, the cult of Baal dates all the way back to biblical times. There are a few stories in the Old Testament that in the Bible that mention Baal, and the sacrifice of kids, and the God Yahweh of that time was basically trying to separate his people from the heathen, the Canaanites, because they participated in acts such as these. But yeah, this stuff dates back thousands of years. This is nothing new at all. I'm under the impression that the same people that are currently running the world were basically in the process of setting up their kingdom to this day from back then. It all means this all makes sense, you know.
Epstein files are out, millions of pages, thousands of videos in order from Congress. And what have we learned? Well, Democrats accused the Attorney General of a cover-up. The Attorney General calls a senior congressman a washed-up loser lawyer. Victims sit in the room watching their accusers' names blacked out while their own names, their photographs, their suffering are leaked to the public. Welcome to accountability, Western style. For years, the Western elites, the Western men, have stood on what they call the moral high ground. They lecture other countries on human rights, on fair courts, on the worth of every person. They send diplomats to lecture former colonies about the rule of law, as if that law were a custom-made suit only for a rich man. So here's the uncomfortable truth the West does not want to face. The Epstein archive is not just one file on one criminal. It is a CT scan of the whole system, the courts, the banks, the politicians, even some academic institutions. Not evil in some movie sense, silent partners in real world sense. Silent through doing nothing, through convenient forgetfulness, through the quiet belief that some men are too powerful to ever be brought down. And yet these same institutions continue to grade the rest of the world on human rights, continue to issue report cards on judicial reform, continue to act as if they're the world's moral judge. The lease on that high ground has run out. It ran out in Florida courthouse in 2008. It ran out on the private Caribbean island with the Harvard professor as a guest. It ran out this month on the live television when the victim had to watch her abuser's name being blacked out while her own name staying in plain sight. The Western elites wanted to be judged by their good intentions. Unfortunately for them, the Epstein files contain only the facts.
Why is it that the rest of the world is willing to tell the truth and point out the atrocities that are being committed in our country, but our own news media outlets tell little to no truth? And if things are being delegated to the public, it's not only is it not the truth, but it's sugar-coated. So it's presented to be as if it's not a big of a deal as it actually is. The trafficking, the killing, and the eating of children will always be a big deal. 1,000%. And anybody that is accomplice to these acts of wickedness, they need to be put to jail or they need to be put to death. Straight like that.
The elite do not worship Satan. They worship consciousness, and they've been trying to keep you unconscious so you don't realize you have the same power that they do. Secret societies, occult knowledge, hidden teachings, you have symbols everywhere, rituals that look demonic. Most people think this is about worshiping evil, but that's really just the cover story. It's about understanding reality as consciousness-based, not material-based. The elite know something that the masses don't. They know that consciousness creates reality. They know that symbols carry frequency. They know that intention shapes outcomes. They know that energy follows attention. And they've been using this knowledge for centuries to maintain power while keeping everyone else in the dark. This is why they push materialism so hard. This is why science dismisses anything that's metaphysical. And this is why religion was weaponized to make you worship external gods instead of recognizing the divine within yourself. Because the moment you realize you are consciousness having a human experience, you become ungovernable. The real conspiracy is not control, it's consciousness suppression. Keep people afraid, keep them distracted, keep them believing that they're powerless meat suits in a random universe. Keep them working, consuming, obeying. Keep them so busy surviving that they never have time to even question reality. Meanwhile, the people at the top are using things like manifestation, energy work, frequency manipulation, ritual magic, all the things they taught you were fake. They're not hiding in the shadows because they're evil. They're hiding because if you knew what they knew, their power would disappear. You have the same abilities that they do. Telepathy, intuition, manifestation, energy healing, reality creation through focused, intentional consciousness. These are not supernatural powers. They're natural human capabilities that got suppressed through education, religion, and cultural conditioning. They don't have power that you don't have. They just know how to use it. And they've spent centuries making sure that you never learn.
The elites and their kids are brought up in an entirely different system than your average person. School system, dietary system, occult knowledge, they're given all of that at an early age. So the way that we're conditioned and taught that the world works in all actuality is the illusion. And these people that are in charge, these people that basically run the world, their families are privy to the knowledge of occultism, of Gnostic teaching, of quantum physics. Like they're taught all of that at an early age, finances. So by the time you reach 25, 30, 40, most people don't even most people aren't even privy to this information at all. They live a whole lifetime and don't know half of this stuff. But the stuff that we're currently learning now, because the information is just freely dispersed and more people are awakening, they knew this stuff at an early age, right? So we're wondering why they're playing by a different set of rules when in all actuality, it's a totally different game that they're playing, right? And the religion that we've been given has taught us to look without, to rely on the pastors, to rely on the preachers, the people that are siphoning your energy, instead of, as Jesus or Yeshua or whatever you want to call them said in the Bible, go within. The kingdom of heaven is in you. You have all the answers within yourself. The problem is, like I mentioned earlier, we have so many different vices that we're caught up in. None of us take the time to actually go within ourselves and ask the questions as far as what's perpetuating our deepest fears. Why do we have the thought processes that we do? What is fear? Things that are actually propaganda of illusionary mechanizations and have nothing to do with who we are as a soul, as a spirit. It throws us off the track, right? So while we're playing catch up, they're busy collecting money, causing us to act as cattle, as barcodes for the Federal Reserve in the system, so that we never try to find our purpose. We never spend time in understanding the laws of reality, the Hermetic principles, none of that, right? But now, it's our time. This is the age of Aquarius. This is the age of knowing, of awakening, of information. And we all have a choice at the end of the day. We're at the master of the universe, the architect of the universe, wanted us to break apart in aspects of the divine to experience God from different points of view. Wrapped in that philosophy, in that theology, is free will within itself. So you have the free will to do evil, but you also have the free will to do righteousness. There are ramifications on both sides. I just only hope with information like this that's being dispersed that people would choose the side of righteousness, because evil's not going to win out and the system is crashing before our eyes. So be on the right side of history.
And it happened. It was like a weird hologram, and it had like big black eyes. And I also saw Epstein shapeshift on the island. When I was on the island, I saw Epstein like suddenly, and people have actually asked some pretty good questions recently. It wasn't like I saw him turning like the Incredible Hulk. What happened is, it was when I was taken in the bedroom the one time, and he had like a blanket up to here. And then I looked away and I looked at him, and suddenly it wasn't him anymore. It wasn't like I saw him turning. It was like it was him, and I looked away, and then when I looked back, it wasn't him. There was this weird creature. And then I looked away, and then I looked back, and it was him again.
This is Juliet Bryant, a verified Epstein survivor who spoke about what you just heard. And this is the thing that people are not going to be ready for at least 10 years. The documents that were released by the government for the Epstein files even talked about supernatural things such as time travel. And it's going to come out that these people are not even human. These people who have been controlling the world are literally lizard people. I know everyone has liked to make fun of that for the past 20 years, people saying that, but you know what? It's honestly true. These people are not human. They're able to shapeshift, and they need human flesh to survive, human blood, and something called achrome in order to fulfill whatever their body needs. They need it from humans, and their supply is running out because they've been killed. There's an underground branch of the military going through all the tunnels literally right now, finding all these lizard people and taking them out. And now the disclosure is finally happening to the world, and people just want to ignore it and dissociate. But you know what? The truth is going to come out at some point, and honestly, most of you are going to be dead before it even does.
Unfortunately.
I'm going to casually mention to you something that's very scary indeed.
I think I mentioned him in my first video. This is Phil Schneider. He was part of the military in the early mid-90s, and he basically was a whistleblower on his experiences encountering extraterrestrials, and they offed him. But, you know, this is his story.
And tell you what the alien agenda is. The alien agenda is the complete takeover of this planet, the killing off of 5, 6 to 7 eighths of the world's population by the year 2029. U.S. military has known about this for 45 years. They've told no one. As far as I know, I'm the only person standing before a crowd talking about the alien agenda, secretively. In 1954, I'll give you a quick overview. There was the created 1954 treaty where Eisenhower signed a pact with the known alien species of the time. There were 3 at the time. And said that we're going to deal in high technology, but you can take a few head of cattle and a few human beings and you can experiment on them. It's unthinkable.
It's crazy.
It's stuff straight out of the Nazi death camps, and I'm kidding you not. It's plain BS, and it's got to stop. Now, the created 1954 treaty would have been violated. After the great firefight, the alien-human war, I am the only living survivor talking about it worldwide at all. Only one. The other 2 are in nursing homes in Canada, and the Canadian government refuses to allow any U.S. people, including myself, to talk to them.
Why?
Because they are afraid of kidnapping. Probably the reason I got shot to pieces and 11 attempts on my life is I am a direct threat to the entire system. The New World Order, the alien agenda is one and the same. It's world takeover and the decimation of the population of this planet. Now, I'm going to tell you something a little bit different about the alien species. The bad news ones, there are 9 races of alien populations. To look at a human being as a bag of food. They're not cannibals. They don't eat the flesh and the bones and all that kind of stuff.
Energy harvesting.
They use the glandular secretions of animals and human beings as a mixture of the vitamins for their food. They get high off of our adrenal gland. It's something like cocaine to them. Basically, we'll be led in the dark, and you'll keep seeing more and more people disappear. Right now, there's 100,000 children totally unaccountable through FBI archives, cannot be traced anywhere. They haven't been murdered. Nobody's ever seen them. I think they're hauled underneath in some of these bases, and they're summarily done away with, and they are literally
still not going on.
The Talmud and the Kabbalah are satanic, perverted, Mesopotamian magic cults. And so these same people have very pure bloodlines. Their marriages are carefully planned. They live in huge, luxurious palaces in Venice, in Florence, in Rome, all over Italy. For instance, they set up Christianity. They set up the Vatican. They were the popes. And if you've ever noticed, the popes have that big domed hat with decorative elements on it, and that is from the pounded felt tradition of the Scythians and the Central Asians, the Iranian tribes. And it's because they want to control religion, because they control the people by controlling religion. So the Aldobrandinis, the Chicchis who run the Vatican Bank, all these families are all related. They've intermarried. The whole Habsburg Empire was set up and created by them. That was another breeding program. So there's a very long ancient history, and it's very relevant today because they're still in charge. They use religions to hide behind and conceal who they really are. But they're Zoroastrian Mithra worshippers.
Seems like he needed that money. It was never enough.
What money? What about money? He had no childhood. See, y'all always be trying to talk about shit you don't know. He didn't have a fucking childhood. Huh? All right? He had all the money he wanted. All the fame he wanted, huh? But he never bounced the ball, huh? Michael Jackson, huh? A child. His mind was a child. Became one of the most powerful human beings in the world, and they killed him. So he's insured. So they had him insured for $1.5 billion. So when they killed him, you mean the Lords of London didn't see them holes in his arm? Michael was killed at 2 o'clock in the morning from a laser. And then 4 days later, they go into the house and find this bloody shirt of Michael's, and then understand it's like $450,000 worth of jewelry and cash missing.
Well, I thought it was because of the Sony thing.
But that's because you don't have the information.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
I said he was killed by a laser. Huh? I just told you it was a bloody shirt and the money. Just public. All you gotta do is go look it up. Huh? I didn't come here to find out what you think.
No, I'm just asking about
No, you didn't. You said you thought. I'm not interviewing you. You interviewing me. I don't want to hear it. I respect who you gonna be. So don't sit here and tell me you thought it was the Sony thing. Huh? What was the Sony thing about? Tell my grandmother.
Well, my understanding was that he was going to get the Beatles catalog.
He already had it. Huh?
Okay.
He bought the Beatles catalog when his people told him don't buy it. He bought it for $48 million. When they killed him, it was worth $2.5 billion. Huh? Well, I don't want to hear what you thought. I saw the check, nigga. Huh? So I got to sit here and what you thought. Who cares? Huh? Orange County. Father come back and say, Michael, I want you to sit in my seat. We go home. He holds me, feel like an animal clawing me. Greg, they're trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me. I know him. Huh? I know him. I know what it's about. Not about Sony. He already had it. Lloyd's of London got me insured for $1 billion. That means they give me all kind of checks and they didn't see the holes. You and the brothers, there's first responders. You get there 10 o'clock. He's out. You don't know he's dead because the call just come in. So you trying to get a vein. You don't know he's been dead since 2 o'clock. So now they tried everything. Now they go get the different chemicals I can put in. That's where the needle holes came.
You want to know how deep I've gone down rabbit holes? I'm convinced that both of the world wars were really just to erase the old world. And that there was an entire narrative scripted around who the bad guys were, who the allies are, and it was really meant to just destroy all of these beautiful cities. They took out all of the bells. If you guys haven't looked into why there would be bells in public spaces and the healing properties and the harmonious properties that these churches and all the architecture was built in. Okay, it's sacred geometry, and it's not unrealistic that they started 2 world wars and put, at the time, our best men in every single country lined up across each other because they wanted to take out the most brave and quote-unquote prestigious men for every country, knowing that all of them would want to go to war.
So you mean to tell me the Epstein files reveal that Michael Jackson was actually trying to help the kids by taking them to Never Never Land to get them away from the perverts? Do y'all know what that means? So according to the new Epstein files info, Michael Jackson created Never Never Land to be a safe space for kids to go to get away from the perverts like Epstein and Diddy. And since Michael Jackson was about to expose, or was in the middle of exposing them, allegedly, that is why he got took out, allegedly. I still don't think y'all understand the gravity of this situation now. So now the whole conspiracy...
YouTube, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Conspiracy theory with Diddy and the coroner and somehow that Secret Service or agent or whatever, Fahim or whatever that guy named that worked with Diddy, who many conspiracy people were saying had something to do with MJ being taken out of here. Now that all kind of makes sense in a sense. And so since Michael Jackson was trying to take down that whole perverted scheme, they flipped it on him and made him look like he was the predator. And I'm talking about Michael Jackson, when all this time it was a bunch of bullshit and it was them trying to protect their self. And in turn, they shitted on Michael Jackson.
Because the Epstein files have been released. All of y'all are acting fucking normal. Epstein files have been released. And all of y'all are acting normal. All of y'all are acting normal. They can laugh.
but y'all can Google it. They can laugh, but y'all can Google it. The Epstein files have been released, and all of y'all are acting normal. All of y'all are acting normal.
It really constipated. This man done lost his goddamn mind.
It's probably the only insane one at the airport.
Everybody's calling. No, you shut the fuck up.
Wait, don't say nothing.
Because the Epstein files, what I'm reading, and everybody in this room can read. If you go to Google right now, everybody in this room can read. They are eating babies. They are trafficking children. And if you think for a second any fucking thing in your life matters, you are on the fucking wrong side of history. You are on the fucking wrong side of history. It don't matter about the flight. It don't matter about who in this fucking airport. It don't matter about this nigga walking past me right now.
They worshipped a deity called Moloch or Molech. It was a deity that was an aspect of Nimrod, who keeps coming up everywhere, of course. And what they used to do is sacrifice children to Moloch or Molech. They put them through the fire. And in the Old Testament, you see prophets condemning the people for putting their children through the fire to Moloch or Molech. When I've talked to contacts, therapists and what have you around the world who work with satanically abused people, what those people tell them is that, again, when they're sacrificing children, the deity in the modern world today that they use to sacrifice them to is Moloch or Molech. Same seamless stream. So the question comes in relation to this: how do they symbolize Moloch or Molech, this deity to which they sacrifice children?
There was I think it was Alex Jones. It's like several years ago. Several years ago, he snuck into it's like a secret society meeting. I think it was somewhere in Washington, but they were basically sacrificing to an owl. It was the Bohemian Grove. Look up the Bohemian Grove. But yeah, they were sacrificing to this big ass owl figure. That's what David Icke was referring to. Skull and Bones, like all these secret societies, the Illuminati, they sacrifice to the same gods. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of them want an even exchange of something that's valuable, something that's of sheer importance to you. It's an exchange. Everything's an exchange of energy.
They do it, symbolize him as an owl.
Still present and still trying to maintain control over humanity because they have had control over humanity for such a long time and they don't want to lose grip on it. They're trying to see how else can I pull your attention in a negative way so you can still focus on the destruction of the society, of the structures that are happening. You're going to see a lot of news focusing on the financial system breaking down, a lot of news that are tragic, a lot of issues, a lot of political back and forth happening as well, especially, like I said, in the next few months, because they know that once you kind of go against each other with the political perspectives, then they got your attention and they got your energy, and they want to pull you more and more into this theater play that they have for you. So the best way that I could really describe it is, imagine a movie playing at the cinema right now, okay? And if 200,000 people are buying tickets to go to the cinema and see this movie, then this entire energy of this collective is being drawn into the movie, right? So they're going to keep playing it at the cinema for much longer than they're supposed to, because they're seeing that people are paying money to buy tickets for this movie and it's very popular. However, if nobody is watching this movie and this is not a popular movie and nobody's going to the cinema to watch it, then they'll replace it with another movie, right? So this is what's happening right now, and this is the best way that I could describe it. We are shifting towards a better reality. They're trying to still maintain your attention in a negative way. So this physical reality of destruction and chaos and turbulence and everything falling apart, from a political perspective and so on. It's being played out at the cinema for more and more people to watch, so your energy is being pulled in every single day. And that's why I tell you guys, stay away from the media, stay away from the news, stay away from anything just in general that speaks about anything in a negative way. Because if it's a negative energy, you should not be focusing on that. It is destroying your nervous system, and that's what they're trying to do right now. That's why a lot of you are already feeling overwhelmed, tired, anxious, and you're not understanding why your nervous system is being attacked right now.
Even though we're all living on the same planet, it feels like we're living in different realities. Some people say life is heavy, scary, full of problems. Others experience it more as peaceful and full of meaning. What creates the difference isn't the place. It's how the mind is tuned. Your thoughts and emotions act like a switch. When you focus on fear, anger, or stress, life feels harder. When you focus on gratitude, beauty, and being kind, your experience of the world changes. This shift is sometimes called a timeline change. Really, it's a change in perception. You're never stuck in one version of reality. You're always just one thought away.
I think it's important for us to really stay in a space of gratitude. It's cool to stay informed, but the best thing you can do for yourself and the people around you that you love is to not be overcome with everything that's happening in the world, not let it affect you in a negative fashion. Things are all about the perception that we hold, the energy that we use to quantify our own reality, and to stay in a space of joy and love will have a tremendous effect on those around us. And even though it may not seem as if you have an impact, you do. And the little bit that you can do, the small bit of energy that you can push out into the universe little by little, the seeds of encouragement and determination to be a better version of yourself to others goes a long way. Like I said, stay informed. Pay attention to what's going on in our world, but at the same time, don't let it consume you in a negative fashion. Everything, again, is about free will and about choice. We see the elites and the choices that they made, and they're going to pay for the atrocity that they've committed in our world, on our planet. Don't be afraid to be yourself, live in your authenticity. There's always going to be people that are put in your life to knock you off course, but they're actually, if you have the right mentality toward the opposition, is actually really meant to strengthen you and to encourage your resolve not to fall into the trap of negativity, but to continue to uprise and elevate your consciousness, the impact that you have on those around you in a positive fashion, and just to be present and observant, because presence is power, observance is the divine. And if you allow yourself to elevate in every form and fashion of your life, whether it's what you put in your body, what you feed your mind, and how you treat yourself as far as the affirmations that you give verbally, the quality of your thoughts, ultimately you'll see a tremendous difference in your reality. Because your reality, how you feel about yourself, your perception of your life ultimately is all that matters. We are aspects of God. We are divine, divine drops of the cosmic ocean. And it's important that we keep that in mind. I love you guys. Please stay safe. Again, stay informed. Make sure that you're checking on your loved ones. Make sure that you're eating a balanced diet. Plenty of phytonutrients, fiber. Make sure you're taking your vitamins every day, supplements, probiotics, things that will help detox your immune system. And I really appreciate you guys rocking out with me in these videos, man. I know that my soul tribe is with me, and I'm with you all in spirit as well. So until next time, peace, love, positivity. Praying for you guys. Out.